Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about Hurricane Sam that has developed way ahead of schedule within this video. Now, this one is pretty interesting. Model guidance seems to be flip-flopping quite a bit. They'll show pretty close to an East Coast hit, and then they'll go far, far, far out to sea. Right now, we're in one of those runs where it seems like far out to sea is the bigger chance option at this point. But really, we're not going to know until probably about Monday, Tuesday time frame. This one right now, last time I checked, was a Category 2 on the fence of a Category 3 at 110 miles per hour. To become a Category 3, it needs to hit 111. So I'm sure by the time right now I'm talking that it is probably over 111 miles per hour. So this one is basically a major hurricane. We're taking a look at the satellite imagery at the beginning of this kind of run of satellite imagery here, and we're taking a look at maybe about 12 a.m. here, and it looks like a decent hurricane for sure. It does have an eye. It looks very potent. But let's take a look at when I was waking up this morning, beginning my video at about 5 a.m. or so. And this one looks a lot more intense. Look at those very bright whites and grays in there. That is taller and taller clouds being indicated here on this satellite imagery. And this one has a very nice structure at this point. So yes, this one is a major, major storm, to say the least. Almost a major hurricane, if not a major hurricane at this point. Let's take a look at that 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook. And this is the 2 a.m. update. And as you can see, we have Tropical Storm Teresa out there. Very interesting. I'll talk about that one in a minute. We also have a disturbance behind Tropical Cyclone or Hurricane Sam there, almost major Hurricane Sam. We talked about this in the last tropical update we did a couple days ago, where I was saying I think a disturbance is going to set up right behind Sam based on the European probability forecast. And sure enough, here we are with a 50% chance, as you can see, as we take a look at this one, of tropical development over the next 5 days on this disturbance. Let's talk about Teresa real quick, because I want to get this out of the way before we talk about Sam. Here's the satellite imagery. Now, for obvious reasons, I'm not very concerned about this one. I don't even think it's raining where this storm is. I mean, these clouds are super just eaten up. I think this one hit some shear or something bad, because at this point, there's nothing there. There's a little bit of some spinning clouds in the sky with hardly any winds probably, and hardly any rain, if any rain at all. So this storm is very diminished by this point. Here's that 5-day cone, as you can see, and this one doesn't even go out 5 days because it's supposed to dissipate within that time frame. 2 p.m. on Saturday, it should be a tropical depression. That's today. And then by 2 a.m. tonight, it should be pretty much a post-tropical cyclone and should be breaking up. So very fast, this one is going to become nothing. Here is what a lot of you have probably been waiting for, our cone forecast for Hurricane Sam. For obvious reasons, considering it's 1 mile per hour away as of this 5 a.m. advisory, you can see that by the time we're reaching this afternoon, this one should be a major hurricane Category 3 at least. So that's kind of what we're watching at this point. And this one's going to remain a major hurricane all the way until about Thursday at 2 a.m. when this 5-day outlook comes to an end. As you can see, at the end of this cone, it is not curved north at all. It is still on its trajectory where it could technically just keep going. So right now, the model guidance does have a curve, and usually with stronger storms, they do have that curve. But it is impossible to roll out an East Coast threat at this point, and that's why we're calling it a close call, because it's going to be a nail-biter here regardless, because if there's still a chance, I think obviously it's something we need to watch regardless. Now, the overwhelmingly most likely scenario here is that we see a curvature north sometime around Bermuda or just to the west of Bermuda is my guess. Now, I would say there is still a 5 to 10% chance of some sort of very close or direct impact to the East Coast, even with the current model guidance. Model guidance is just guidance. We're just supposed to use it as guidance. It's not the forecast, it's the guidance. And at this point, when I see run after run these models flipping all over the place, it's lowering my confidence in what they're calling for. So that's where I'm at right now. We will take every scenario possible and talk about it here. But here, what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about that spaghetti model guidance in just a moment. So here is our GEFS model, or our GFS ensemble model, spaghetti model guidance. And as you can see, This one does have that curvature happening. Actually, kind of to the east of Bermuda, and this is happening a little bit earlier than what the National Hurricane Center is indicating, which is super interesting. I'm kind of wondering if they're going to shift their outlook a little bit closer to what this is showing. But we do have our European model here, which has, through the course of this storm, shown the most furthest west scenario out of all of the models consistently, which is interesting. But it is just one model. We're going to take every scenario as a possibility, like I said before. So the GEFS could be right, the European model could be right, both could be right. Now, this one, as you can see, takes it much closer to the eastern seaboard, but it has a very sharp curvature actually back towards the east if it does have this furthest west scenario, which is interesting. It kind of boomerangs back. Now, if this was the trend further west, it could very easily become a direct impact to the east coast. That cannot be ruled out, like I said before. Here is that Canadian ensemble model. Again, I've talked about time and time again that this one is all over the place, and again, it's all over the place. And this one is actually the closest to an East Coast impact, and I'm not very surprised by that because usually this one shows literally every single possible scenario in one, map here, and that seems to be the case. We could see anything from, hundreds of miles east of Bermuda to just offshore of the East Coast as a possibility here. Usually the mean average isn't too bad though, and that is true here. We see that the mean average isn't too far off from what the other models are calling for. Here's the individual models, and they do have a curvature to the north, all of them. And it seems like just around Bermuda, like I said before, is what the consensus is here according to the kind of individual models. Keep in mind, like I said before, these models can shift altogether. So that doesn't mean, I think a lot of people, when they look at this, they say, well, there's not a single one showing the East Coast, so they're not going to move towards that because there's not even a single one calling for it right now. But that's not really how it works. Oftentimes, we see these models in great agreement, but what happens is they all shift together. So we could see the next run them showing a direct impact to Bermuda as opposed to just to the east of it. And then the run after that, we could see them going just to the west of Bermuda, all of them together. So it doesn't need to have even one model showing it. These models will all move around together, even if they're in good agreement. Oftentimes. That doesn't mean it will happen. They could stick with this the entire time, but oftentimes we see some shifts back and forth from run to run, regardless of how accurate the first initial run is. Hopefully that's not too confusing. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and talk about that intensity guidance on the chart, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the dust. All right, now here we are taking a look at that intensity guidance. As you can see, every single model has it at least becoming a category 3 now, so that's not even a question. Again, it's 1 mile per hour away from being a category 3. We do have a few that are trending towards category 4, and even the ones that aren't, we can see a majority of them are on the higher end of a category 3. So I would say a category 4 really cannot be ruled out at all at this point. Even a category 5 couldn't be ruled out like that one model is showing. It obviously can't be ruled out if one model is showing it. You guys know my kind of mindset is that if a model is showing it, even if a model isn't showing it, it's possible. But especially if a model is showing it, we know it is possible. Anything is possible. That's just how the world works, you know what I mean? Everything has a percent chance. That's how I look at life. Anyway, you can see that they never drop off in intensity because even through the next 7 days, it's still going to be over warm waters and not impacting land. So this one has a very long time to go. That's why I hate how people are kind of rolling out certain scenarios when we literally have like 10 days until this one would even be hitting land if it did. We have about 5 days until we would start to see signs of a curvature. So there's many days that can still go by for something to change. We've seen massive changes in model guidance and trajectory way less in advance than this. So to have 5 days to go, it's just nowhere near rolling out any sort of scenario at this point. That's my mindset. Anyway, for the dust, as you can see, there's nothing even close to the United States, so this one is going to have a very easy time kind of just maintaining that intensity as we saw on the intensity chart. For today's confidence tab, we remain at a 4 out of 6 for this one actually because, again, there's a long time to go until we would know if this one is for sure going to curve or not, so there's a lot of time for things to change. For today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, how much snow do you think you're going to get, or what kind of winter do you think you're going to get? Because we showed the average snowfall, annual snowfall amounts yesterday in yesterday's video. You can check that out if you want to. But Frank the Tank 22 said, "Love your videos. I think Michigan's going to have a great winter after the summer we had, and you guys deserve it. Whatever kind of winter you want, you should get it because the summer you guys had was absolutely crazy." For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, John Benbeck, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Litter the Pan, and Donna Carnes, alongside our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalesa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Cindy Klein, Mark J, Luke Feligo, Gary's, John Calisi, Dwight Phelan, and Stephen Crenenthal. If you'd like to be a part of this very exciting patron entry of the day, you can do so by joining our very amazing Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comments down below. I'd also like to thank our channel members, Hair Farms 1, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. If you'd like to join that one, it'll be next to the subscribe button down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.